Toto. I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Hey YouTube, this is Tabitha. Haven't seen you in a minute. Well, actually, I think I have because Maria made some videos with me in it from like our Jamaica trip. But like to me, I haven't been here for like a month. I actually left for basic camp a month ago. I don't even remember what the day was for the Army. And I'm not an enlisted soldier right now. Like, it won't be until I graduate college. But I'm taking the officer route, which honestly, like, it's easier than just enlisting. Like, sad but true. And so basically, well, also just to put this out there, I'm just now getting over getting sick. Like literally the day I came back from basic camp, I went home and I took a 5-hour nap and I woke up and I could not breathe when I woke up and I felt like complete crap. So my nose is all congested and all that good stuff. So we'll just ignore that. Basically what basic camp is, it's a condensed down version of what basic training actually is. It's, you learn all the basics of the Army, you're learning your military bearing, you're learning how to shoot a rifle, you're learning how to properly address other officers or other NCOs and stuff, things like that. You're learning all the basics of everything. You have drill sergeants, which, not gonna lie, pretty scary in the beginning. Like, you're scared to do anything, and I also screwed up a whole lot, which I'll maybe tell you about that because it's really embarrassing and it really shows the stupidity of myself. So basically I went to basic camp because I started ROTC and I'm now going to be a junior in college. So I just started this past semester, so I missed the first year and a half of ROTC, which is like, honestly, they are like teaching you the fundamentals and like all of those things. So I had to go do that. So when I come back to school, I won't be an MS1 anymore. I'll now be caught up and be an MS3, which is amazing because that keeps me on track for graduation and all of that stuff. So I did all that, and before I left, I was completely terrified. I had no clue what I was doing with my life. And especially like coming from a faith perspective, I'm like, dang, I don't want to go anywhere that God's not going to send me. Like, that's scary. Like, God doesn't follow you where your heart desires. Yeah, freaking out, like having like anxiety and like all of those things. And it was like repetitively, like every time I talked to somebody, like they would be like, just calm down, it's okay. You don't have to have your life figured out. You don't have to know everything going into it because God's got you. He's going to help you figure it out. Like, you're just going to basic camp. It's not a life commitment. Like, I'm not contracted. I'm not enlisting. I didn't sign any forms. Like, you're just going to go to try it out. And I was like, okay, fair. Like, makes total sense. So I calmed myself down, and they came that I was leaving, and we get there and we sat around, we were waiting. We actually got there at 1 o'clock and they were like, oh, well, you actually can't check in until 6. And I was like, okay. So we went and got food and just hung around, and then we went back around like 4:35ish. But that's besides the point. And so we went. And we get there and they drive us down there in a little bus, so we're like making our way down there, and we get there and all these sergeants are standing outside, like everybody's standing in a formation, their bags are in front of them and they're just standing there. So we were like, oh my gosh. So me and my friend Hannah went. We get there, we set our stuff down, and then all the sergeants walk over and they're like, dump your stuff out, get it all on the floor, we want to see all of it. So we're like, oh, okay, let me just do this real quick. And they're like, hurry up, and you're like, okay. And there was like all of this stuff. So all my stuff's on the floor, and like they're looking through the bag, and they're like, what the heck is this? And like, what the heck is this? And you're like explaining some of the things. Like, it all ended up being okay. And we put our zip all our stuff up, and they're like, all right, it's time for chow, let's go. And so we all run over and get up in formation. We ended up eating first, but like in the beginning it was actually really terrifying because we had no clue what we were doing. So it was just like to create a like very high stressful atmosphere, and like that's it. Like they're trying to break you down and make you mentally tough, like, which again, I know like there was maybe a couple people that were in National Guard and like a couple people that were contracted, but like we're not in the Army, like the majority of us. So they can't be as mean and cruel to us because like we could literally leave at any point. Like we could just get up and walk away if we wanted to. And they can't like, they just can't do as much stuff to us is basically my point. Like they still make it stressful, they still make it sort of intense, and but like nowhere near as bad as like what it is to be an actual military personnel. And they're like yelling at you and screaming at you, and then we had like a fire drill on the third night, so we were up at 3 a.m. and then you just went the rest of the day, and we didn't go back to bed until 10 p.m. And because lights out was at 10 p.m. every night, give or take, unless we had things like when we had land nav, we didn't get back until like 1 a.m. so lights out was at 2 a.m. Everything just kind of like fluctuated depending on like the situation, you know. Yeah, I mean honestly, like after our drill sergeants got there, like, and you got used to the atmosphere and you kind of eased up a little bit, like I actually really liked it. Like, you know, like you go to some of those places and you're just like, wow, this actually like fits my personality so well. Like, I know the Army is not ideal, and I know like it has its ups and downs, but everything has its ups and downs. And it like, I don't know, I like loved all the people there. Like everybody is like so unique and different in their own ways, but they're so open and accepting of other people that it's just like, it's actually really cool. And our drill sergeant was literally hilarious. Like he was so condescending, and he was so like, I mean, he was such a brat. He really was. But he was so freaking hilarious, and he just like made everything so much more lighthearted. Like he was like being mean to us, but like he actually really liked us as like a platoon. So it was actually really funny. So I guess I'll tell you like my dumb story now. Ended up halfway through camp, or not half, yeah, no, it was probably 2 weeks in, yeah. So like brief, like just before, like I've maybe held a gun once in my entire life and shot it, and it was like a little bitty, like I don't even know what kind of gun it was my friend Josh's, but like it's like a little bitty mini gun. So like that's my only experience with a gun, like ever. Like I have no clue what I'm doing. I've shot like a BB gun before, pretty much the same, right? I don't know, but not at all. I was terrified to have a gun because we got like M4s. Like we get this gun and I'm carrying it around, and we're learning how to use it, we're learning how to take it apart, we're doing all that stuff, and we go in for FTX training where we're learning how to put up like our like use our ponchos as like a protection, or like a quote unquote like tent. And so there is this little, like, okay, it wasn't a little baby spider, it was a freaking huge spider, and like it's like looks like a daddy long leg, but like massive. Like I'm not even kidding you, these things are probably this big. And I don't mess with spiders. We don't do that. Like we're packing all our stuff up and we're about to leave, and this big old spider is crawling over one of the guys in my group. And he's like starting to panic a little bit, and he's like, get off me, get off me. I don't want, like, I hate spiders, get it off of me right now. So like, you know, my empathetic little heart is feeling all of the stress that's happening, and my automatic impulse is to knock it off. What do I knock it off with? Because it's not going to be my hand, let me tell you that much. I use my M4. Yes, you heard me. I used my rifle to knock off a spider. So not only did I point my gun at him and flag him, I also touched him with it. Yeah. And as I'm doing this, out of the corner of my eye, do I see a nice man with a large brown hat on walking to my direction. And he goes, absolutely not. And I said, it's Drill Sergeant. Literally, I about peed my pants. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that was probably one of the scariest moments of my entire life. And he goes, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, okay, Spider off, Drill Sergeant. And he goes, is that how you use your weapon? No, Drill Sergeant. And he said, give me your rifle. I said, yes, Drill Sergeant. So I handed him my gun. And, you know, I'm just, like, terrified the rest of the day. I'm miserable. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Like, I'm terrified. I can't believe I was so freaking stupid to do something that, like, pick up a stick, you know? Like, we're in the woods. Pick up a stick. But no, I use my gun. I use my rifle. So, all that happens. And later that day, because that was one of the other drill sergeants for the other platoons. So he hands my rifle to my drill sergeant. And he goes, Kerr, what is this? I said, it's my gun. It's my weapon, Drill Sergeant. And he said, why do I have it? He said, do you want to explain what you did with it today? I said, I knocked a spider off of somebody with it, Drill Sergeant. And I'm so embarrassed at this point, and all that stuff is happening, and I was just like, ugh, yikes. Like, wow. And so he's like, you know what, we'll deal with it later. Come get your weapon right now. So I walk up there, get my weapon, and I'll walk back in line, get back in formation. And then later, we go back out over to the side, and he's like, well, what should I do with you, Kerr? And at this point, I start crying. I'm a really good Army girl. So I start crying in formation, and he's like, why the hell are you crying, Kerr? We don't cry in formation. And I was like, yes, Drill Sergeant. So then at this point, I'm like holding my breath, trying to keep myself from crying. And then he asked me another question. So then I'd take a gasp of air because I've been holding my breath for so long, and then I'd start crying even more. So at this point, I'm like hyperventilating, and I'm like, like all the crazy stuff. And he's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, Drill Sergeant. And I felt so bad because I could tell he was feeling bad because our drill sergeant was actually a really cool person. And he was like, then he was like, well, what should I do with her? Talking to the rest of my platoon. He was like giving us that circumstance. He's like, well, you're here to learn. He was like, so if this was one of your privates and they did something like this, what would you do? And everybody was like, I'd give them PT. I'd make them do this and make them do that. And he was like, okay. He was like, Kerr, what do you think? I was like, whatever you want to do, Drill Sergeant. Whatever you see fit. And as I'm like bawling, and he's like, well, dang, what would y'all do? And then finally, he's like, you've never used a gun before, you don't know what you're doing, because like I really did make him feel really bad. And I honestly feel really bad because like I should have gotten in trouble. I should have got like smoked. Oh yeah, he ended up asking me. He was like, Kerr, what do you want to be? And I said, a chaplain, Drill Sergeant. And he looks at me and he goes, what? Are you kidding me? Like, he was like, you want to be a chaplain? You're supposed to say something cool, like infantry or armor or something like that. And I was like, sorry, Drill Sergeant. And he was like, well, I can't even get mad at you now. You're not even going to need a weapon. So he basically was just like, okay, whatever. He was like, write me a 1,000-word essay. It's due tomorrow. And I was like, yes, Drill Sergeant. So he actually let me off really easy. And like, I was really, really surprised because, you know, that's not what you really hear about drill sergeants. So confused. But I got really, really blessed. From then on out, everybody like just started calling me chaplain, and which was actually like really good because people like started asking me questions and stuff like that. And like my drill sergeant, like we even had like a conversation about religion and things like that. So that was actually really cool. And I met a lot of really good people. And I don't know, like having all of those things like happen, like yes, I felt like an idiot. Yes, I even was an idiot. Like I'm not gonna deny that. I know what I did was stupid. But I'm glad all those things happened, because I wouldn't have had half of the conversations I had unless I would have gotten in trouble and told my drill sergeant that I wanted to be a chaplain. Like, my first sergeant, who's like head over the entire company, like knew who I was, and like he talked to me about it, and so genuinely nice and genuinely cares about everybody. And like the fact that he like paid so much attention to me because I wanted to be a chaplain, like was like, it was like a confirmation from God for me. Because, I mean, like I said before, going in, I had literally no clue what I wanted to do, like none whatsoever. But after that, like, I just knew that I knew that God wants me to do that. I don't know exactly, like I can go National Guard, I can go active, I can do reserves, like, but I don't know what, but I know I'm going to. And I know that God's going to lead me there, because, like, I haven't known for this long, but he led me here. So I don't have to know everything or have everything figured out, but I know that God's going to take me there. As long as I'm living my purpose, which is to bring glory to his kingdom, like, he's got me. He's got me so good. And like, he's got all of us. Like, when we're living for his purpose and we're living for his kingdom and we're living for him, like, he's got us. We might not know exactly every step that we're taking, but he's got us so good. Like, he's got everything mapped out. And I'm just walking and looking at him, and that's all we got to do, you know, like, that's it. That's my experience with the Army. I'm gonna be a soldier, so that's a cool thing. We love that. I love my military people. Like, I don't know, if you have any questions or you want to like hear more about this, or like, which I'm not that intellectual on, but like, if you want to know stuff, I can figure it out, which will also help me in the long run, because I need to know everything. But it's just a step-by-step process, and I'm going to be contracted whenever I go back, so that means I'll start getting paid and my school will get paid for, so that'll all be really good. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and tell me what you thought of this. Like, I want to hear it. I want to hear what you want to see, what you want to know, what you just think about it overall. Like, just let me know. I hope you all have an amazing, beautiful, blessed day, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Kingdom of God.
We're not in Kansas anymore.